Okay, the meeting is being live streamed.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everybody, wherever you're streaming in from today. Welcome to another family health show brought to you by TTR, True Temperance International, a truly international ministry, logging in from various parts of the world today. We've got Mkumbani, my co-host from Johannesburg. Welcome, Q.
Hi there, Brent, and hi everyone. Welcome to the True Temperance International Family Health Show. It's good to have everybody here. It's a South African affair this week. The South African team is hosting.
Yeah, so you 10 hours inland from myself. I'm down on the Eastern Cape Coast here in South Africa. We're having at the moment. It's the coldest been all year. I think it's 17 today. What's it like up country there, Q?
Oh,
what was your max today?
It's terrible weather, man. I think our max might be a 15 or something, and it's overcast. I feel like I could be on another continent to the north. I won't say which one.
Yeah, so it seems like you're also having a bit of winter up that way then, eh? So we've got our YouTube members, just to welcome them. They're all streaming in right now. Welcome to our Zoom participants for today's show. Today we're going to be bringing you vitamin K, the K factor, which is brought to us by Sister Louise Reid, and that's going to be very interesting. Quite close to my heart, really, where this has an alternative to the health of the cardiovascular system, and quite close to my heart in a sense that my dad is actually a sufferer of this condition. So we look forward to finding out more about vitamin K and how that can benefit people that are on warfarin and that type of thing, you know. So we're all looking forward to having and introducing Sister Louise Reid when she comes on. In the meantime, Q, should we go over the promos and the disclaimer? Get that out of the way? What do you think?
Let us do that. Yes, let us do that.
Okay. Just to share the screen, yeah. Okay, so for those that have just logged on, once again, welcome to the Family Health Show, Season 2 of Fearfully and Wonderfully Made, Know Your Body, brought to you by TTR, True Temperance International. So what we'll be covering today is a presentation by Louise Reid, where she'll be covering vitamin K and the benefits thereof, and how that can assist the cardiovascular system, which is very, very beneficial when it comes to the heart health and so on. So this is going to be something that is going to be benefiting everybody, especially obviously towards your old age and so on. So we all look forward to this presentation today via Louise Reid. And if you can just cover the disclaimer in the meantime for us there, Q, could you go over that for us, please?
Certainly. I'm definitely looking forward to Sister Reid's presentation on this. Her detox presentation really did wonders for us, if we recall the feedback from the challenge. Our disclaimer is only a physician can diagnose, treat, and prescribe for illness or disease. Any information disclosed or discussed at the TTI Zoom talk show is for educational and informational purposes only. Please continue to seek professional medical advice from your general practitioner regarding any illness or disease you may be suffering from.
Great, thank you for that. Thank you.
Cheers.
So then moving on to our Telegram groups. With the TTR, we have various platforms that we have on our show. And firstly, we have our spiritual health group. There are the links for that. Please take a screenshot if you'd like to join. Our spiritual health groups obviously covers various aspects of spiritual health. We offer prayer requests on there, devotions, and we also have Remnant Connections that comes on to that link on a Friday evening at 7 o'clock, where we're currently discussing and studying the book, The Great Controversy. So you're welcome to join that, which is very, very interesting. At the moment, we on chapter 5 of that book, and that is on a Friday evening at 7 o'clock, and that's UK time. Then we also have two other groups, the men's and the women's wellness group, where we share various aspects of health and other aspects with regards to what we are about as a ministry, to keep everyone up to speed and abreast of what's happening with regards to our ministry and announcements and so on. So if you're not part of those groups, please go and join them, that you can be up to breast with everything that's taking place with regards to today's show and other shows that we and other events that will be rolling out. Q, if you can cover the rest a while that's coming up on the 29th of August.
Oh, certainly. This is a once in a lifetime and the sort of thing that you do not want to miss. The Come Apart and Rest a While, shall we call it camp or retreat. This is a collaboration with several health-focused ministries, and it's going to be held from the 29th of August this year to the 4th of September. So it'll be held from the 29th of August to the 4th of September. We'll be covering several topics in the workshops, from your mind and disease, detox therapies, some cooking demonstrations if you want to learn what to do for your health, setting up a sanitarium for those who feel mission-minded and would like to set up a sanitarium, assessing your body chemistry, herbs in practice. I remember, in some of our talks, we've talked about how we think some things are just weeds in the garden, but they're herbs. We get to learn a little bit about herbs, a bit about country living, physiotherapy, and how to do health checks. And also, you will be getting health checks over there. It'll involve several speakers, international speakers in the health space. We're speaking about Andre Crawford, Alvin McQueen, Lucille Fifield, Joanna Daniel, Dr. Conrad Vine, who some of us may have been listening to lately regarding certain, sort of policy issues, Jackie Brown, and Pastor Sam Davis. So all of these speakers are going to be a part of that seminar. That's the Come Apart and Rest a While seminar. It's a beautiful name, an invitation to actually stop, the humdrum of everyday life, stop and actually regenerate. And what does this cost? Only 150 pounds per adult. It's 150 pounds per adult, and plant-based meals will be available. Plant-based meals will be. It wouldn't be a health, seminar without plant-based meals. For booking and for more information about it, for a booking form and more information, please feel free to call the number on your screen, 07733787061. That's in the United Kingdom. 07733787061. And this is going to be in the beautiful Welsh countryside of, how do I say that word, guys? Is someone from where?
Kefenlee, yes.
Kefenlee.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
All right.
wonderful venue, that Q. Have you not been?
No, I've never been to Kefenli.
Okay. Yeah, it's beautiful. It's in the hillside. It's very picturesque. I've been there about 4 or 5 times. It's wonderful. It's really a pretty place and a wonderful venue for this type of event.
So definitely, anyone who wants to attend, you definitely will. I mean, if you won't just benefit from the lessons and from the healthy food and treatments there, but you also benefit from the scenery and from taking a moment to breathe in that fresh air out in nature.
Definitely.
Oh, by the way, one little thing. I think there's a deposit. To a £50 non-refundable deposit will secure your place. So make sure you do so early, because with all these international speakers, there's going to be a lot of demand for seats. So you want to make sure that you secure your place as early as possible. Just £50, and you know that you're home and dry. You just need to top up the rest and make your way to Kefenli.
Thanks, Q.
That's the why. From the 24th August.
So then to follow is the 10-day colon and liver detox, brought to you by Louise from Mercy Door Health Ministry, which is taking place between the 17th and the 26th of April. So we all know how important the colon and the liver is to the body, with regards to being a trap for any parasites, for any infections. And these are organs that are vital to, obviously, our longevity and need to be cleansed. And Louise gives us various juices and sort of raw methods of being able to detox and alleviate any clogging up of these organs. And this will be assisting with regards to the digestive system, to digest your foods more effectively, to maintain regularity with regards to your your actual stomach and your digestive system, so assisting with constipation. What you experience after this type of detox is increased energy, less aches and pains, then also increased absorption of vitamins and nutrients. So your body is going to be able to absorb your food, and you're going to get more benefits out of the intake of your food after a detox like this. There's obviously going to be weight loss. Generally, it's a kilogram a day that you're going to lose when you're busy doing a detox like this. And the majority of this affects the liver. So your liver function is going to have assistance over there, and then increase the bile flow to the liver. And generally, with these detoxes, you're going to actually pass these stones, or maybe these buildups in these organs, and very beneficial. I have done a few of these, and they really work. So the detox packs you're looking at £110 each for the detox packs, and there's only 30 places available for this program. So we're coming up now closer to the 17th. So please get hold of Mercy Door Health Ministry on the following number on the screen, and then book this as soon as possible. Okay. And if I could just hand over to their Q with regards to the support for the ministry.
Oh, yes. An attitude of gratitude is a healthy attitude, always. And we are thankful for every single person out there who supported True Temperance International. Now, you could have done so just by your attendance, and you could have done so by your prayers. We appreciate every form of support that you've given us. We know that True Temperance's raison d'etre is to minister to as many as possible. So your participation helps us to fulfill our purpose. And your inputs as well, the conversations that we have. You know, at the end of each family health show, we always have a few introductions and some chats, and we have testimonies that we share here. All of that is such priceless and so invaluable, and it keeps us going. But beyond that, because the ministry itself is actually a practical thing that has practical requirements, such as making sure that the Zoom account is active and other needs, should you feel, should the Spirit move you to support us materially, please take a screenshot of the details that you see on the screen right now. Just take a screenshot, and then we have no structure to our donation, whatever it is that you feel you'd like to share with us. We already are appreciative of the prayers and the support and the participation and anything else that you support us by. But we are happy even by the word of mouth that you share. Whenever you watch this and you tell a friend, go and watch True Temperance International. I learned something about A, B, C, or D. We're always thankful for your support. But please take a screen grab of the screen right now, of the details on the screen. And like I said, we are most thankful for whatever it is that you can help us by to support the ministry. It'll keep us going, and it'll help to get these good messages to as many as possible. And with that said, I hand over to you, Brent.
Good. Thank you.
Your connection, I think, is freezing a little bit, Brent.
So I see we are streaming quite nicely now. We have 41 members on Zoom, and our live stream is to all the YouTube viewers. Thanks for joining in. So today we have a presentation on vitamin benefit our cardiovascular system. Do we have
I'm sorry, you faded away there, Brent. Oh my, we seem to have lost Brent there. Are you still there with us? Are you still with us, Brent? Okay, it looks.
Brent, maybe we could say something.
I just got kicked out with my unstable signal on the side. So okay, so we have Louise Reid on the call. Hi, Louise.
Hi, Brent. How are you guys?
Very well, and you?
Very well,
I'm blessed. I'm blessed. I'm blessed.
Amen,
that is
amen.
wonderful. I love your energy.
Amen. You know, Q, I loved what you said. Attitude of gratitude. What was it that you just said there? What was it that you said? Repeat it.
Oh yes. And an attitude of gratitude is important to increase our altitude. To
Amen.
raise
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna steal that. I'm gonna steal that one.
That's it.
I like that. And it's very
always
true.
good
When we
to be
have an
thankful.
attitude of gratitude, it's more beneficial to us than we actually know. Do you understand? So yes, very true.
Amen.
Louise, just checking if you're on, because we didn't have you on when we all dialed in earlier.
I'm waving at you, Brent.
Yes, Louise, could you get your curtain behind you? We've got quite a glare coming from your backlight.
Is that a bit better?
A lot.
Yes,
a lot,
you can see your face. Right there.
Okay.
Hi, Sister Louise.
Hi,
Brilliant.
welcome everybody on TTI today. Happy Sabbath, happy Saturday. We're so glad to have you here with us. Thank you, Brent and Q, for doing a wonderful hosting today. And I hope you guys are ready for a nice but pleasant shock, I hope, with your for the vitamin K presentation.
Yes, we are. Before we get into it, we wanted to also just make sure that everybody remembers to share with us the challenges. I mean, if they took up last week's challenge.
What was that? What was that again, Q? That was brought to us by Travis Trommel to do with the mouth, wasn't it?
Yes,
yes, it was. It was to do an oral check, the hard palate, if I remember, the tonsil area, all the other areas. Is there somebody out there who did the check?
Yeah, I was doing a lot of more checks this week with the flossing as well. The flossing, he was talking about flossing, getting the food out from in between the teeth that the toothbrush doesn't actually reach. And it is so true. When you're flossing, it's like, wow, so much food inside your mouth that you don't realize. So, make sure you're flossing as well.
Oh, yes. Flossing and making sure you got, I think it was a mouthwash, but an organic mouthwash.
Yeah.
Just trying to make sure that, we get those little hard to reach corners that the toothbrush can't reach.
Yeah. I mean, I went and did a little research because my granddaughter, she sometimes uses a mouthwash, which I disagree with. And so I was like saying to her mum, I don't like that. So I went and did a little research for a natural one. I found one, got the recipe all laid up for her and sent it to her mum. So now all her mum has to do is make it up.
Oh, do you think you can share that recipe in the chat?
I might.
If we're nice.
Oh, we have a hand.
Sharon, I see your hand is up.
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, Sharon.
Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can.
You're coming through now. Yes.
Okay. Right. So since the first time that Travis gave us a presentation, he spoke to us about several things. And, you think the basics of just brushing your teeth is just like, we all learn it. Everybody knows how to brush their teeth. But even just the review, just looking at the areas that you might miss because we're in a hurry to do this and in a hurry to do that, just taking our time. So what I did was I used my electric toothbrush, which I purchased after Travis's first presentation, and I would focus more on the soft palate, on the inside of the cheeks, under the tongue, just places that I would probably just go over really quickly. So I took a little bit more time focusing, mindful teeth brushing, I would call that. So yeah, that was and I did pulling my tongue out as well, looking at to see if there's any white spots, and thankfully, praise the Lord, there wasn't any.
And how do you feel afterwards? Do you ever like smack your mouth like, no, this is really clean?
Yeah.
I was going to say, no, that's a cue thing. But Louise said she does as well. So there you go.
Yeah.
When you brush your teeth and it feels really clean and you've got into the areas that you should have got into, it makes a lot of difference. You like run your tongue over your mouth more often. And you just feel good. You feel like smiling. Do you know what I mean? So brushing properly, and when you're putting it into practice, it does help a lot in terms of like, you just try to get it done mentally, because even though I've got a few teeth missing there, I went to the back ones where there's a gap and I was flossing in between it, behind it, all that type of stuff. And, people might say, oh, well, I can't get to the back ones. Then use a child's toothbrush. And it gets in the mouth at the back even better. So use a smaller toothbrush with a smaller head and just practice that cleaning all around the back areas. And, you get some teeth missing, clean in between them as well on the gum line.
Thank you. Yes, and for clarity's sake, make sure that child's toothbrush is a brand new one, not your child's toothbrush.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you, Q, for that.
Yeah. I see we had a question that someone just posed. Can we have a picture of the electric toothbrush? So, Sharon. Yes. So, just to let all the viewers know, throughout Louise's presentation, if you can just post any questions in the chat box, and for our YouTube viewers, the same. We will collect all those questions, and then I'm sure at the end we'll have a bit of a Q&A where we'll have a chance to ask Louise some questions at the end. So I think without further ado, Louise, I think we'll hand over to yourself for a lesson on vitamin K.
Okay, I'm just going to say this now. I'm not very good on IT, yeah? So you lot are going to might have to support me here because I'm really bad.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, let me see. I've raised my screen up. So do I go to share?
You want to share a slide? Yes. So you click on screen share.
So screen share or slideshow, which one?
If you click on screen share, then whatever's in the background will come up, and you need to double click on that presentation that you'll be seeing on the screen. You'll see a whole lot of screens. So click on the presentation in the background.
Just 1 minute. Where is my daughter? Right, let's just minimize this for a minute and then maybe I'll get restored down.
You are in good hands because Q offers TTR our RT support. So we are in good hands.
Okay. I can't see screen share anywhere on my screen. So that means I'm doing something wrong.
Are you in the Zoom app? You're in the Zoom app, right?
Right, yeah, I'm in Zoom. Okay, let's come out of Zoom. So should I be in Zoom to start with?
Yes, you should be in Zoom and then find a button that says screen share. It could be in one of the menus. Menus are 3 little dots. You'd have 3 little
Generally
dots.
bottom right next to chat, between chat and record, you'll see screen share with an arrow pointing up.
Okay, just 1 minute.
On the Zoom platform, yeah?
Yeah, I'm just gonna.
Hello, Louise. If it doesn't look like that on your device, there may be a green button with an arrow that says share. That's the one you want to click.
Okay, I'm just gonna minimize this so that I can see. Oh, what's happened?
You're still on Zoom.
Are you still in Zoom?
The good thing is,
okay.
The good thing is she's still in Zoom because we can see her.
Yes, we can see you.
Okay.
Are you on the PC, Louise?
Sorry, say that again.
You're on a computer.
I'm on a laptop, yeah.
Okay. You couldn't
So
do a quick
a green arrow or green square that says share?
It's because I've most probably done something wrong, but just 1 minute. I'm gonna call Danger Mouse.
Who's when you say Danger Mouse, I'm thinking of Pinfold.
Yeah, no, I'm calling Adenike. Adenike, she knows my computer. She knows how bad I am because she knows I'm going to panic. So I've tried going down and.
So Louise, while you're on Zoom, can you see your screen?
I can see my screen.
Can you see a green button that says share?
No, Nike, sorry. Josh, I'm on Zoom. I'm going to put the camera on. I don't know what I'm doing, and they're trying to help me, which is, I'm not making it very easy for them. So here's my screen, Josh. Josh? Yeah, Josh, here's my screen. I need to share my screen with everybody.
Oh, can't team viewer in there, you. Hey, view.
Yeah.
Team view in there and take control.
Yes, look, that would be great if we could do that. You know, go into Teams and just do that and do remote sort of desktop. But yeah.
So whilst we're waiting for Louise to come on with her screen share, is there anybody else that would like to give a testimony about anything that they've learned through True Temperance International, through the presentations, or even coming on to the Remnant Connection Bible studies, or joining us on our essential oils group? I know we had a really lively essential oils session this week. So is there anybody that would like to share something that's appropriate? I know currently they're going through the great controversy with the Friday discussions. Okay. We're all shy this afternoon, morning, evening, whatever time of day it is. No worries. I'm sure Louise will get this. So we will also be praying for Louise right now, because prayer works wonders. So let's not forget to seek our higher source of assistance. And whilst we're waiting,
someone has just asked in the chat box, has Louise checked the more button? Maybe not sure where the more button is.
okay.
Bottom right, yeah.
Could be the more button, or it could be a blue share button on a laptop, because I know on my phone it's green.
I think we've lost Louise now.
She may have logged off.
I think we've lost her now.
She may have logged off to log back on again. Yeah, quite possibly. But in terms of vitamin K, I know that's something that is given to all babies, well, in the UK at least. I'm not sure about elsewhere, but all babies, and I'm sure we've got several nurses on here as well, possibly some midwives. All babies are given vitamin K in like a little capsule or something, or it's like a little something that they eat. And they also have a heel prick, but that's something different. Is there anybody who can tell us a little bit about their experience of what vitamin K or lack of vitamin K? I mean, I can tell you something, but I just want us to share, because, you know, anybody.
Brent,
and for those of you who are on YouTube, sorry about the delay. Yeah, go ahead, Brent.
Yeah, I was just briefly looking at it, and basically the fundamentals behind the vitamin K is it can be a substitute for warfarin, which is a blood thinner, and it fundamentally assists with blood clots, and we know that that is a big problem for certain issues that are currently happening around the world. So it's definitely something that I think we should all have in our arsenal, or something that we should be taking. What I'd love to find out more about is what foods have vitamin K attached to them. So that's what I'm really looking forward to finding out about, with regards to what, instead of supplementing vitamin K, to actually.
Oh, congratulations, Louise. We see your presentation.
Yeah, this is quite close to my heart, because my dad's actually a warfarin patient, and he uses warfarin, and it doesn't do anything for the body. The warfarin isn't a very nice drug. So this apparently can be an alternative. So we're gonna see what Louise has to share with us. Yay, Louise!
Okay, so we're going to need Louise to unmute, because you're muted at the moment.
Okay, Louise, we can see your screen. You just need to go and click on slideshow from the beginning. So click on slideshow from the beginning. You can maximize if you want. There we go. And then just click on maximize.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Great,
we can.
Praise the Lord.
Thank you, Josh, darling. I love you. I love having you as my son-in-law. Thank you. Okay, I am very sorry. Thank you for bearing with me.
Oh, well done.
Okay, so we're going to go straight into the presentation, and our theme throughout most of the last couple of months has been, fearfully and wonderfully made, which we definitely are. Psalms 139 verse 13 says, "For you created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb." And when I read that, I was thinking, wow, that sounds like something I really want to have in part of my presentation. And then Psalms 139 says, from 13 to 14, basically talks about the same thing, but says that we are what? Fearfully and wonderfully made. So I'm just gonna, can you see that screen here? Can you
Yes,
see
we
my
can.
screen?
We can.
Okay. So I'm just going to go back. Yeah, I'm just making sure that I haven't missed any. So in the 1930s, we're going to talk about vitamin K today. And even though we're not going to go into the very intricate parts, there's going to be some parts that are quite interesting because we're doing a twofold thing here. We're going to be talking about vitamin K in terms of the need for in our bodies, but also we're going to be talking about vitamin K from the Bible perspective. Yeah. And we'll see how the Bible, how God in his wisdom, he did everything even before we were even born. So in the 1930s, Danish researcher Henrik Dam and American researcher Edward Dosey found that which was required for blood to clot. They shared the 1943 Nobel Prize in Medicine for this research. So it says the human body has two clotting elements. One of them is called vitamin K. Vitamin K is not formed in the body up until the 5th to the 7th day of birth. Now, I want everybody to remember this because this is very, very important, okay? And the second clotting factor, which is essential, is called prothrombin. It's surprisingly enough developed to 30% of normal by the 3rd day of life. And after that, semen in consequence peaks at 100%, 110% on the 8th day, just before leveling off at 100% of normal. Now, if we just remember two things, okay? Vitamin K is not normally formed in the body up until maybe the 5th or the 7th day, but on the 8th day, yeah, which is a clue to what we're presenting today, there seems to be a peak of it at 110%. And then after that, it levels off and goes back to about 100%. So we're looking at vitamin K today, people. So what is vitamin K? Vitamin K is a fat-soluble vitamin that comes in two forms. The main type is called phylloquinone, found in green leafy vegetables like collards. Let me just do this. Yep, like collards, greens, kale, spinach. And the other type is menaquinones, are found in some animal foods and fermented foods. So the menaquinones can only be produced by bacteria in the human body. So those are the two forms, but the form that we're going to be looking at mainly today is the one that is plant-based, okay? So we're looking at plant-based. So why do we need vitamin K? Why do we as human beings need vitamin K? I hope everybody can still see my screen and hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, great, thanks. So we know, hopefully we know that vitamin K helps to make various proteins that are needed for blood clotting and the building of bones. And if you remember last week, the doctor was talking about, the oral doctor, the dentist was talking about even for our teeth. We need it even for our teeth, yeah? And so it's a very, very important vitamin that I think a lot of us generally, we just bypass it. We don't think about it. Do you understand? And we need to be really more on top of this because we will kind of hopefully learn how important it is. So it says prothrombin is a vitamin K dependent protein directly involved with blood clotting. And then osteocalcin, if we look at that word osteocalcin, let me just put my mouse on because I want us to look at that word. So look at that word, it says osteo. And when we think about osteo, what comes to our minds?
Osteoporosis.
Bones. Bones, yeah, exactly, great stuff. And then it says here, this is what Sonia's gonna like, it says calcin. So when we think about the word calcin, what do we think about?
Calcium.
Exactly. Exactly. So osteocalcin is another protein that requires vitamin K to produce healthy bone tissue. So these proteins that are in our bodies, we actually need the vitamin K to actually help it to do what it's supposed to do in the body. Okay, so vitamin K is found throughout the body, including in the liver, the brain, the heart, the pancreas, and of course in our bones. it is broken down very quickly and excreted in our urine or through our stool. So when we empty, when we go to urinate, pee, or when we go to in our stool, when we go and poo, that's how we excrete the vitamin K out of the system. So because of this, it really reaches toxic levels. Yeah. So people may say, oh, there's some vitamins that if you take too many of them, they can become quite toxic in the system. With vitamin K, this is so highly unlikely. It's possible, but only because we've really been overdosing on vitamin K supplement, not on our foods, okay? But it's so rare for us to have toxicity poisoning from vitamin K because of the way we are always peeing, we're always supposed to be pooing, hopefully. And so, as May, it says, so because of this, it really reaches toxic levels in the body, even with high intakes, as may sometimes occur with other fat-soluble vitamins. So this is what I was saying, with some of our other vitamins, when we overdose on them, even though they're good, then basically then we're going to have a problem. And we can see here the types of vitamin K sources that we have already spoken about. K1 is through the leafy green vegetables, spinach, some fruits, but of course we'll look at that in a little while. And then K2, which is like our colonic bacteria, fermented soya beans, chicken, meat, cheese. And then we have K3, which is a synthetic form of vitamin K. Yeah, and we are focusing mainly, as I said today, on the natural form is where we're going to be looking at it in through our foods. So how much vitamin K do I need as an adult? Adults need approximately 1 microgram a day. How much is a microgram, Q? How much do you think a microgram must be?
Is it, if a milligram is 1,000th of a gram, is it a millionth of a gram?
So it's so tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's such a tiny dose we need on a daily basis. So we don't need to go crazy about overdosing on vitamin K. I hardly know anybody who has been supplied vitamin K supplement because we're supposed to get this mainly through our foods. For example, someone who weighs 65 kgs would need 65 micro, that means a tiny, yeah, dose of vitamin K daily. While if you're someone who's a bit more heavier, you will need, of course, a larger dose in terms of 75 micrograms. Those are just examples there. But you should be able to get all your vitamin K you need by eating a varied and balanced diet. And this is what we want to encourage all our listeners to do today. We don't want you to run to the shop after this presentation, yeah, and say, oh, I need to get vitamin K. It's not necessary at all. The only way you will know if you're vitamin K deficient, which we'll come to in a minute, is by certain tests or certain signs. But any vitamin K that your body does not need immediately, it stores it in the liver for future use. So you do not need to be pumping yourself with supplements of vitamin K every day at all. So let's look at vitamin K for children. What is the normal practice here in the hospital, or maybe in South Africa, or maybe in wherever country you are? What is the normal procedure when your child is born? What is the normal procedure that happens? Today we're doing a free flow thing, so people, let's have just one person answering.
They are given an injection of vitamin K.
Okay, what country are you in? The lady who just answered me, what country are you in?
England.
Okay, you're in England. Q, what happens in your country?
I honestly have no clue.
Okay. Okay. And Q, do you have any children?
No, I don't.
Okay,
So
that's why he doesn't know.
I think they give them injection on the heel. Yeah.
Yeah. So you either have it through an injection or you have it through
Or
a
prick.
drop in your mouth. Okay.
Mhm.
So this is the normal procedure that happens to near enough every single child that is born. Okay.
Yeah.
But my question is, Do we need to give our children a vitamin K injection or a vitamin K drop in their mouth? I am not saying to anybody, don't allow your child to have vitamin K. This is not what I'm saying. I'm not proclaiming it at all. I'm looking at whether our bodies can do what it's supposed to do or not, or do we need to have that vitamin K? We're going to look at why we do give the vitamin K injection. So it says here, when babies are born, what happens when babies are born? A vitamin K shot via an injection or orally. This is done because they don't have enough vitamin K in their body to properly clot their blood. So this is why we are all given a vitamin K injection, because we do not have enough vitamin K in our bodies naturally when we are first born. Our levels are so low that they feel that they have to give us that so that we start clotting properly and immediately. So because of the low levels of vitamin K, babies are at risk from a bleeding condition called vitamin K deficiency, that's VKDB, which causes bruising and excessive bleeding in all the organs. I'm sure mothers, maybe some of the dads, you remember when your child was first born, they gave the vitamin K, they come in, they don't even ask you, they just give it, yeah? And it's for the clotting process. It says babies are at risk for this condition during the first 6 months of their life because they can't make this vitamin on their own. This is what they're saying. This information, I've taken it off the NHS, yeah? Remember, most of this vitamin is made in our bodies from food and from the bacteria in our gut. Generally, babies aren't eating food until age 6 months, and nursing moms don't pass enough of the vitamin K in their breast milk if they're breastfeeding to their children. This is from the NHS website. I took it off there just the other day, okay? So this is what the NHS says, and a lot of the health organizations are saying. So let's look at the adequate amount of vitamin K for children. You can see your list there from 0 to 6, from 7 to 12 months. If you want a phone, you can, if you've got a phone, just quickly snap that. 1 to 3 years, 4 to 8 years, boys and girls, all that type of stuff. And that is adapted from the Institute of Medicine and Dietary Reference Intake. So it says avoiding excessive intake from supplements is advised. And remember why we said this is advised? It's because you should basically be able to get all your vitamin K that the body needs from your food, from your diet. So if you are vitamin K deficient, your body doesn't have enough of these proteins. The telltale sign of vitamin K deficiency is bleeding too much. Now, just because you bleed too much, it doesn't mean that you're vitamin K deficiency. It's saying that these are some of the telltale signs, so you should get them checked. So scientists also believe that vitamin K helps grow bones. We said that earlier, and stay healthy. But of course, they're still looking into that. So vitamin K deficiency is rare in adults because many of the foods we eat contain adequate amounts of K1. And because of the body makes K2 on its own, plus the body is good at recycling its own existing supply of vitamin K. Remember we said that if we had a little bit excess, it goes into the liver stores it for a while and uses it as it's needed. The other times we're excreting it through our urine or through when we empty our bowel, okay? However, let's go back to vitamin K deficiency. Certain conditions and some drugs can interfere with vitamin K absorption and creation, making it possible to become deficient, yeah? So it's saying here that if you've got certain health conditions and if you are using certain drugs, it can interfere with your vitamin K absorption and of course the problem with making the vitamin K in the body. So the vitamin K deficiency is more common in infants. In infants, the condition is called VKDB, for vitamin K deficiency. So we're going to be saying a few things over and over again. So it says the main symptoms of vitamin K deficiency is excessive bleeding. Keep in mind that bleeding may happen in areas other than a cut or a wound. The bleeding also may be apparent in someone if they bruise easily. So some people bruise exceedingly easily. I'm one of those people. I've been checked and it said my platelets were a little bit low, but okay. So some get small blood clots underneath their fingernails, bleeds in mucous membranes that line areas inside the body, and stools that look dark, almost like tar, and may contain blood, okay? Now, in infants, doctors may observe vitamin K deficiency if there is bleeding from the area where the umbilical cord is removed. So, you know, when you have the baby, they cut it all out, they cut it off, they stump it off, clamp it off, yeah? And I'm going to talk about that in a little bit as well. It says bleeding in the skin, nose, the gastrointestinal tract, or the other areas, bleeding at the penis, that's males if the baby has been circumcised, and sudden bleeding in the brain, which is of course extremely dangerous and life-threatening. And hence, because this has happened on a few occasions in the past, they now mandatory give your child the vitamin K shot. So although vitamin K deficiency is uncommon in adults, certain people who are at increased risk are those who are taking certain drugs. And we have a list here of coumarin, anticoagulants such as warfarin, which thins the blood. Now, if you're taking vitamin K normally in your food and not taking a supplement, then it would not interfere. It should not interfere if you're taking blood thinning drugs for whatever reason that you're taking them. One of the other ways that your body can become vitamin K deficient or have problems making vitamin K or accessing the vitamin K from your food is if we're taking antibiotics, okay? So if you have a condition that causes the body not to absorb fat properly, so that is also a condition. And of course, if you have a diet that is extremely lacking in vitamin K, then of course your body may produce the symptoms of the things that or the points that we've been addressing. Now, for our bodies to, our diets not to have all the vitamin K that we need. Remember, Kate, we was talking, Q said a microgram is so tiny, and they were saying that the amount we need is so small. So then it makes me think, what is it that we are not doing on our diet on a daily basis, that of course is making us have an extreme lack of vitamin K? That means our diet are so bad that our fruits, our vegetables, especially the green leafy ones, yeah, are not being taken on a daily basis. And so that needs to be fixed. It needs to be fixed very quickly. And parents, you need to, you know, grow your children that they start eating their fruits and their vegetables, especially their green vegetables, ASAP. Do you understand? And if you can't get it into them in one way, then you have to find a way, because it is vitally important. I've read papers where they've said that parents who did not feed their children a proper nutritional diet, children have become diabetic. Some of them have become blind, all sorts of things. And we're saying to you, we want to avoid all that with our children and ourselves, but especially with our children more so now, because they are the future. They are the future now and tomorrow. We don't want to get them into that habit of not having a proper balanced diet. So first, your doctor will need to know your medical history to understand if you're at risk of becoming vitamin K deficient. When you're pregnant, we all know as mothers, they do so many tests. I don't know if they do that in every country, but over here in England, they run you through the mill. They check you for HIV, for hepatitis. They check you for loads of stuff, and they should be checking you for all those things as well. So if you're taking anticoagulants, taking antibiotics, have a condition where fat absorption is a problem, then your doctor will most probably get you sent to the hospital to get these tests taken to see if you're vitamin K deficient. And then, of course, they should put you on a course of a better diet. But of course, normally they give you a vitamin, which is normally synthetic, for you to start taking to build that back. So remember that newborn infants are more at risk of vitamin K deficiency because of low vitamin K in the breast milk. It says vitamin K does not transfer well from mother's placenta to her baby. And I'm going to talk on that in a little while. And of course, the liver of a newborn infant doesn't use the vitamin K efficiently. And newborns don't produce vitamin K on their own in their first few days of life. So we can see here, it said here, if we can just go back to here, it says vitamin K does not transfer well from a mother's placenta to her baby. And maybe one of the reasons that can be is that as soon as baby is born, what do? Esther?
They drink milk from the mother.
No, what do they do as soon as the baby's born?
Cry.
They cry for air.
Yeah, but they do something with the umbilical cord. What do?
They clamp it. And
They clamp it straight away, don't they? They usually clamp this, yeah. So what, all that goodness, some of the extra good stuff that is supposed to come from the mother and transfer to the baby is not being transferred. Do you understand what I'm saying? So of course, there is some practice going on now that I think it's more as modern medicine are learning, that they're allowing mothers to have their babies close to them with the cord still on for a period of time now. So I was reading somewhere, my other daughter was educating me and saying to me, they sometimes allow it up to at least 30 minutes to an hour, 2 hours if you have in home birth. But in hospitals, I'm not quite sure how they do it, but they're now putting that into practice. They're allowing mothers to have that baby on the chest or even on the breast, and then of course the cord is not cut straight away. So of course some of that nutrition, some of that good stuff is running straight to the baby for a little bit longer. So hopefully if we've got a healthy mother, then we'll have a healthier baby. So let's just look at this very quickly. So once you're being tested for vitamin K deficiency, one of the things that they test is how quickly your blood takes to clot. We're looking at here. So blood usually takes about 1 to 13.5 seconds to clot. If the blood takes longer to clot, your doctor may determine that you are vitamin K deficient. Do you understand? So there's no other ways of doing that. And also, if we come down here to the bottom, if you are on basically some blood thinning medications, then it may take a little bit shorter in terms of 0.9 to 1.1 seconds, a bit longer, sorry, seconds longer. So it might be about 2.2 to 3.5 seconds for your doctor to see. So your doctor will look at this to see if the number is too high. So it's going to take a little bit longer. But usually if you're taking drugs, blood thinning drugs, antibiotics, then they'll look at it and see why. But normally this is how long your blood takes to clot, 11 to 13 seconds to clot. It's not a very long time. So let's look at some vitamin K rich foods that we should be having on a daily basis, okay? So most of your fruits and veg contain some form of vitamin K to some degree, but fruits, vegetables contain more vitamin K, higher doses of vitamin K than fruits. So we've got your blackberries, your blueberries, your pomegranate, your figs that are dried. tomatoes that are sun-dried, grapes, and red currants. They contain some form of vitamin K to different and varying degrees. But when we go to our vegetables, we can see that our spinach, our Brussels sprouts, our broccoli, parsley, romaine lettuce, asparagus, cabbage, green peas, celery, greens, strawberries, milk, plant-based, of course, they contain higher levels of vitamin K. And if you look at some of these foods, it says cooked, 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 boiled, cooked, raw, cooked, whatever. Vitamin K, thankfully, is one of those vitamins that are, it's like, you know, a lot of our foods, if you boil them for too long, there's certain things in the vitamin K is not destroyed as easily in our foods if we cook them than other minerals and vitamins. So I'm not encouraging any of us to go ahead and boil all our foods. That's not what I'm saying. I'd rather steam than boil. If you're boiling your vegetables, just throw the vegetables away and drink the water, because you'll have more nutrient that way. That's what I always say to people. So let's see, how does the body naturally clot? So it's saying that babies that are born, newborn babies, do not have the ability, their bodies don't have the ability to clot naturally. That's what we've been told. So let's look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 1. It says, in the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. Yeah. So the God that we know and we trust, who created the heavens and the earth, put everything into place, should know, or I believe, would know that our bodies need to clot. And then Genesis 1, verse 26 to 27 said, then God said, let us make man in our image. Now God is perfect in our likeness, and then let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground. So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created him, male and female, he created them. So we're seeing here that the Bible is giving us facts that God knows everything about his creation. So he also says in Genesis 17, verse 12, for the generations to come, every male among you who is 8 days old must be circumcised.
Oh, wow.
Yep. And in Genesis 17:12, let your mind be blown. It says, and he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you, every man child in your generation. It's the same text, but it's giving you more information. He that is born in the house, or bought with money, or stranger, which is not of thy seed. So we were talking about circumcision in terms of how the Israelites used to do it in terms of their covenant with God. And we see here through this picture here, the Jewish rabbi here circumcising the male child on day 8. So the question here is, why does God say day 8?
Well, you did say that you have 110% of that other factor beside, and then also the vitamin K is at its best production on the 8th day. So it looks like the child has the best chance to clot when they get circumcised. That's amazing.
Amen. So a lot of countries have actually ridiculed this idea of circumcision in this day and age. Now, I don't know why the Jews still circumcise. It may be because they're still following the law as God had given it to them in those days. But they still, a lot of them still only circumcise on day 8. And we know now that on day 8, this happens. Vitamin K peaks to its highest levels. So when does the highest amount of vitamin K become available in the body to newborn? The vitamin K and thrombosin, which is a blood clotter, naturally in the body are the highest levels in a baby on his or her 8th day. Now, I know we do not do female circumcision in this country, amen. But in terms of the males who were supposed to be circumcised, they were only allowed to be circumcised on day 8 because God, in his almighty wisdom, knew that on day 8, the higher levels of vitamin K would start appearing in the system. And if we look at this chart, you can see that from day 1, look, there's hardly anything happening here. Can you see that? Day 2, nothing happening. Then we start to see from day 3, between 2 and 3, something starts happening with the prothrombin levels, and then from around day 3 to 4, your vitamin K level starts peaking in the highest level from day 8. And then, of course, it levels off after day 8 onwards. So we can see why circumcision was only supposed to be done from that time, because, of course, our bodies are naturally producing the amount of vitamin K that we would need for clotting and to stop people hemorrhaging. So let's go to some facts. So it said the ideal time. So Alexander Schudmit says the ideal time to circumcise a child is the 8th day because prothrombin is fully developed. In the Old Testament, God gave circumcision as a sign of his original covenant with the father of the Jewish nation, Abraham. We can read that in Genesis 7:9-11. We read in his instructions to the Jewish people in the book of Leviticus 12:3, that on the 8th day, they should be circumcised. Now, thousands of years later, in 1872, Alexander Schudmit was credited in his research with blood clotting. He was the man responsible for naming the enzyme prothrombin. In the 20th century, it was discovered that vitamin K coupled, so there are coupling together. When they couple together, it causes the blood to clot. According to the American Pregnancy Association, the Jewish circumcision procedure is usually performed on or shortly after the 8th day from birth, when clotting factors in baby's blood are at their highest levels. The award-winning Giving Birth Naturally also supports the case, saying newborn levels of vitamin K peaks on the 8th day. If you choose to circumcise before the 8th day, it is well advised to administer a vitamin K to prevent bleeding complications from surgery. So we've got lots of people saying that from 1872, that vitamin K naturally occurs in the body at these very high levels from day 8. In an article shared by the famous surgeon and New York Times bestseller, Dr. Joseph McCullough, also states, day 8 is said to be the only time in a baby's life when his prothrombin level will naturally exceed 100%. So it goes over 100%. As it turns out, Genesis 17:12 of the Bible mandates that circumcision of infant boys on the 8th day after birth, a recommendation pronounced long before we had the science to actually back it up. So if vitamin K is not present when a baby boy is circumcised, the baby will of course bleed to death. The reason why Yahweh God established day 8 for circumcision is that vitamin K peaks in a newborn at 8 days of age. So today, when baby boys are circumcised within a couple of days of birth, meaning before 8 days, they are administered vitamin K to help with blood clotting. So did Abraham just by chance know that he just had to do it on day 8? He just followed basically what God said. And it says solely the creator who understands every intricate detail of the human physiology, since of course he made us, could have disclosed this to him. So I'm going to show you a very short video. Can you hear?
Did you know that God commanded the Israelites to circumcise the babies on their 8th day? It is written in Genesis chapter 17, verse 12. And he that is 8 days old shall be circumcised among you. Every man-child in your generations, he that is born in the house, or bought with money of any stranger, which is not of thy seed. Thousands of years later, medical professionals discovered that the blood-clotting elements, vitamin K and proton B, are on an adequate level on the 8th day of life. Make it a habit to read and learn more about the Holy Scriptures. A reminder from UNTV, your hope.
Okay, so we've seen the video. What is our conclusion? These are just some of the people that have written about vitamin K, and S.I. McKillen in this book, None of These Diseases, confirmed that pain caused by circumcision later on in life can last for up to a week or longer. And it is longer because my friend, he was like 30 something when he got circumcised. Don't ask why. I don't want to go into that. And I remember for weeks and weeks afterwards, he was in a lot of pain. He was very sore. And we were very good friends before anybody shoots me. We've been friends for years. So I said, can I see how it looks? Because I'd never seen someone who was circumcised. So I said, can you show me what it looks like? So he showed me, and it did look sore, but it was healing at that point. But he said he's in a lot of pain. So they did this on day 8 for a reason. One, because of the blood clotting factor kicked in earlier at day 8 in the highest peaks. It peaked higher. And also because, of course, newborns on the other hand are extremely resilient. So the most human time to circumcise is the first month of life, because of course they forget all of that, don't they? He also confirms that prothrombin only jumps to 100%, 110% of the adult level on the 8th day. Thus, it means it's the safest day for circumcision in a baby's life. The fact that the Bible records the exact and earliest cutoff point for a newborn reveals a divine fingerprint. God knew exactly what he was doing when he allowed us to have vitamin K in our bodies. So, of course, these are just some of the people that we've used, some of the information I've taken it from. And I just want us to remember what Psalms 139 and the verse 14 says. It says, I will give thanks to you, for I am what? I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Amen. Thank you, guys.
Amen.
Amen.
So I'm going to stop sharing, I hope. Yes. Okay. Right. Let's bring that down, close that, minimize. Okay. Yes, I've done it. Thank you.
Thank you, Louise. Very interesting. Very interesting.
Indeed.
Any
Especially-
questions for me? Not that I'll be able to answer all of them, hopefully.
Okay. Well, let's have a look at the chat, but we'll open up the questions to the floor at the moment. So any of the viewers, if they want to ask any questions, please raise your hand, and then we'll allow you to ask Louise a question. Okay, we have a hand. Jada?
It's Jada. Yeah, my question is, you spoke about the cycle for newborns being 8 days. As an adult, is it the same cycle?
No, we're saying that, no, the adults already have that high level of vitamin K levels in their body. And of course, because of our diet, we should be having all the vitamin K levels in our bodies. But what we're saying is that from day 8 of the human life, yeah, that is when you have your highest peak in terms of your clotting factor coming into its fullness. It's coming in to do all the clotting that in terms of hemorrhaging and all that lot. Now, of course, some people, they do have problems with clotting. That's totally different. That means something's not 100% wrong. 100% right in your makeup, in the gene or whatever it is, so then you have a fault, then you have there's going to be a problem. But in normal everyday born children, then you shouldn't have that problem, because of course you see your levels creeping up from day 3 to day 5, and then at day 8 hitting its highest, and then just after day 8 it drops down back to the 100% where it should be for adults and children.
Thank you.
Okay.
That's okay.
Okay, we've got a question from Eden's Barn, which is, with what you presented, would you recommend the vitamin K shot for newborns, and what's the side of the vitamin K shot? What's
Side effect.
Side effect, probably. Side effect.
So one of the side effects, they say that there's been times when too much vitamin K has been administered, and so they went back and they looked at their studies and started giving, I think it was 0.5 grams or micrograms of vitamin Ks instead of the higher dose that they first started going out with. So of course you get the toxicity there, because of course it's being pushed into a newborn system, and of course the newborn system hasn't really got its own immune system at the time. I do not tell anybody not to give their child vitamin K supplements, or to give their child vitamin K, or allow them to be given the vitamin K supplement. If it's my children, that's a whole different ball game altogether. I remember when my last grandchild was born, nearly 6 years ago, I was saying to my daughter beforehand, listen, you know, they're going to give you all those injections, tell you you're going to give your daughter all those injections, your vitamin K drop or shot or whatever. Get yourself educated so that you know what to do, how to answer them, so they know that basically you know what you are talking about, and it's not just, oh, I don't want to give my child that injection or that supplement. And so she read up on it. I fed her with lots of information. We were doing a lot of juicing with her fruits and especially with her green vegetables. We were adding in, and she was mainly on a vegan diet with lots of plant-based stuff. And we were adding in other things to her, that because she's my daughter, as a medical missionary, I can say, you can take this, you can take that, you can take that. With individuals, of course, it's different. We'd have to do that research. And so when the pediatric nurse came, she was really nice, and she came and she was, oh, what a beautiful baby, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm just going to give her the vitamin K drop. And my daughter said, actually, we're not having that. And the lady said, oh, why not? And she said, because we have decided not to have it, because I have boosted my body enough to allow that vitamin K, hopefully a higher dose, to pass to my child. We know that the vitamin K level doesn't peak until a certain time. And then she said, but if you're a little bit concerned, I'm quite happy to stay in the hospital for the 8 days. Yeah. And you can monitor me and monitor the baby. And they were asking her lots of questions, but the woman's face, it dropped, like she became angry. I was watching her and her face was so angry. And then she turned around to this mother who had just delivered a baby and said, do you know that your child, you can let your child bleed to death? You know that you can let, and she was really trying to pressure my daughter to make her child have that vitamin K supplement. And I think she must have looked at my face, yeah, because my face just watched her, and I looked at her as if to say, just take your little tail and get out of this room. Do you understand what I'm saying? So she did all the checks on my granddaughter very quickly, and she just, she left that room. But what she did, she went on the computer and put on the computer, this mother has refused to have the vitamin K injection given to the baby or oral. And so when my daughter went for her health checks, everybody kept saying, oh, you haven't had vitamin K. You haven't had vitamin K. And my daughter went through the whole process and nothing has happened to her. She hasn't had any vaccines, any vitamin K drops, nothing. So I wouldn't say to people, don't have vitamin K. That's your personal choice. Do you understand? That's your personal choice. That's the decision you have to make. But For me and mine, we made that decision, and by God's grace, it was fine.
So
Thank you.
We've
Thank
sort
you
of got
so
a
much for that.
question. Yeah.
Just again to our viewers, remember, this is for educational and informative purposes only. So you still would need to consult with your health practitioner as to what course of action to take. Just ensure that whatever course of action, it's a course of action that you've made inquiry about with someone who is an expert in the field. So
That's right.
in this instance, Sister Louise was an expert, and you made the call for your granddaughter, and had the good outcome. So make sure you also do the same for yourself, and take an informed action.
Yeah.
Just always remember our disclaimer that we have at the beginning of the show.
And remember that, as we said in the information that we gave to our viewers today, there are some of our viewers who have a problem with clotting. Do you understand what I'm saying? There are some of our viewers who will have a problem with clotting, which the doctors may think would put the baby at a higher risk of not clotting as they should. You need to take all this information into consideration before you make any choices. But what I'm saying is become informed, and before you think of doing anything, don't do anything hasty. I didn't tell my daughter, just say no. I gave her the facts. We did the research. I made her do the juicing. I made her do this. And so when we came to the situation at hand, we were informed. We made that decision. She made that decision. And then afterwards, when they kept saying to her about it, all the other midwives that got to know her quite well realized that she was quite an informed person. And they just kept telling all the other health visitors, no, she's fine. She actually knows what she's doing. So there we go.
That's it, to take ownership of our health. That is the key. We had a couple of questions. Sorry, go ahead.
So we have one that sort of lines up with what we're discussing now, which is, if vitamin K peaks naturally on day 8, why is it administered then at childbirth?
Well, as we said in the presentation, I think that from some of the papers that I've actually read, it was saying that there was a particular hospital, I think in wherever it was, in one of the American countries, they had a high rate of child bleeding to death. And of course, they started making it like as a must that you must be have a vitamin K. The baby must have a vitamin K. But when they looked around, when other people have done the research, and they realized in different countries, in different hospitals, it didn't happen. So it was like a kind of singular incident that makes people panic. And then of course it means everybody has to be vaccinated. Everybody has to have the vitamin K or MRI or this or that, whatever it is. Okay, we're talking on vitamin K today, but it's like that with everything else. It's like they used to give you measles, mumps, rubella. Everybody had this shot, even though those things are 99% wiped out. So why do they still give it? But the fact is, which this is just my own personal feeling, vaccines make a lot of money. I'm sorry, people's not going to like it, but the fact is, in terms of the pharmaceutical company, there is a lot of money to be made. And so this is why I say that vitamin K injection might save a person's life, a child's life, but be informed of your rights and be informed of in terms of your health before you take any decision to just allow a foreign thing to be put into a child whose immune system is near enough non-existent. So be very careful in that area.
Oh yes, we had another question from Samantha that asked, is vitamin K the same as K2?
So we looked at vitamin K, and vitamin K is like it comes in different parts. So it needs the prothrombin part of vitamin K, and then of course our body makes the vitamin K in our gut, and the whatever it was, is made through, we are taking it through our foods. So we have a synthetic form, and then we have vitamin We have the mellow, whatever, which one it was. I'm trying to just get back to there. Let me just get back on there. It's saying, get my glasses on. So if we look at this chart, because we looked at this chart earlier on. Okay, let's look at this. I don't know if you saw, can you see that chart?
Do you want to just share your screen again with everyone?
Okay, so I'll just read it because I don't want to go through coming off this, coming up and going back on. So the phyloquinine is this is a vitamin K1. So it's through your leafy green vegetables, spinach, and all that type of stuff. And some of your fruits, very little of the fruits. Your menaquinine is your K2, which is done through your colonic bacteria. Yeah, and you get it also through your fermented soya beans, like your nattos, through chicken, meat, and cheese. And then menadione, which is your K3, is a synthetic made vitamin K. So they're all your Ks, but they come in different forms. So they come in K1, K2, and K3. K2, which is what the lady was asking, is made through your colonic bacteria, fermented soya beans, that type of stuff.
All right, thank you. Kathy Paquette, you have a question. Did I say that correctly, Paquette?
Paquette is fine. But
Paquette, oh, hi.
Yeah.
I beg your pardon. Hello,
Yeah,
Sister
that's
Kathy.
okay. Yes. Yeah, I was this Louise, very thank you for this. It's very informative, this program this morning. And it's kind of near to me right now too. But what I'm thinking is this is the first time I even knew, honestly, that babies get this injection with K2. I had 2 babies. I don't know. I never knew that. And I've had 2 babies. And I'm wondering if I got it too, because back in my time, I was born at home, so I guess I didn't get it.
Most probably you didn't get it. And you look nice and very healthy from not having it, may I add. And, you know, it's a lot of the children now, it's like nearly every single child now across the board should be having a vitamin, usually I should say, administered a vitamin K injection or drops in their mouth at birth. It's done immediately within a couple of hours after birth. It's done straight away after birth. And they're not asking you in the hospitals, oh, can we administer this vitamin K? They automatically give it. So unless you're saying, hello, what are you giving my child? Then you may not even know that your child is getting it.
Yeah. You're not even in the condition at that time to be questioning too much.
Exactly. I mean, when you just had a baby, I don't want to talk to me about vitamin K. I'm just trying to get my breath back after all the pushing. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it's I think even when my eldest daughter had my last grandson, I told her, don't be letting them hospitals be putting anything in my grandson without you making an informed decision first. And when the nurse came in, my grandson was about 3 hours old. And they came with the shots to give him the MR, whatever. And I said to her, hello, what are you doing? And she said, oh, we're just giving baby injections. I said, no. He's way too early to be having anything. I said, his immune system is not even at its point where it can deal with all those foreign stuff that you're throwing into it. The lady looked at me and she said, oh, we'll talk about it later. And I just looked at her and I looked at the door. She knew what my eye was saying, so she walked. Do you understand? Now, when I left my daughter about 2 hours later, I came back about 4 hours later and he had been vaccinated. She snuck in and said to my daughter, do you know, at the present moment, there's lots of stuff flying around in the air and stuff like that. So we would advise you to actually vaccinate. And my daughter was so distressed. She had a very stressful birth. She just tried to do everything as best for her child as possible. Now, if that's what you want to do, that is absolutely 100% go ahead and do it. But I think it's a bit hard when you're being bombarded with all of this after you've just had a baby and you're not 100% of what's going on. I think they should let parents really have a little think about what they want to do and what they're going to do.
Yeah, but really, really and truthfully, most parents would not have known, because I would not have known at that time. Like now, you know, they're more educated, you're more educated. But I am saying that, like you said before, some people might still need it, because if the parents are not, taking their vitamin K and doing what they're supposed to do, then in some cases, they, the child might need it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But one other thing, the time factor with the portal brain. Like
Sorry, I
that's
couldn't hear you. Could you repeat that, because you had your mouth away? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I was looking at the word. The prothiopain.
Yeah.
That's a time factor with the amount of clotting, right? The time, like the INR that the blood is going to clot.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you think that I don't know if you ever did any research on factor 8. There's like a deficiency. No, I was wondering if that have anything to do with that factor 8 deficiency, if you knew.
Yeah, well, if there's a deficiency, and I mean, it's so rare. I did some research even yesterday, and it was saying that Dr. Sarah, somebody was saying that that there's about 1 in every 11,000 child that is deficient, the vitamin K deficient at birth. 1 in 11,000. So if you think about, that means 10,999 babies are not. So, of course, there are always going to be people who have a problem with clotting or whatever it is. It might be with iron. It could be with anything, do you understand? But there will always be those people, and they have to make that informed decision for themselves, whether they're going to take it or not take it. It's like with hepatitis. If you have hepatitis B, they tell you that you should give your child the 3 booster shots within the first couple of weeks, months of their lives. And within the first year of their life, they give one at birth, and then they give one a little bit later, and then they give one just before they're 1 or just after they're 1. And some of the papers that I've read said it doesn't automatically pass from the child to the mother. Do you understand what I'm saying? But it's a preventative, so they make you have it anyway. Mothers who are Hep B positive, they make them have it. So maybe parents who are vitamin K deficient, or they have a problem with clotting, they are maybe more prone to maybe want to go down that route for health and safety reasons.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
No problem.
Thank you, Ms. Paquet. Thank you very much. There was a question in the chat from Colin, and he said, I'm often informed by medical professionals that vegans are at high risk of vitamin K deficiency. Do you have a view? What do you advise is the best source for natural dietary, non-dairy, non-meat, non-injection vitamin K? Please share.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to be really professional here. Because Shirley's going to tell me off if I'm not, okay? I have been, I've had my vitamin K level tested, and several times, and on a plant-based diet, I've never had a problem. And to be honest, someone like me with some of my health conditions should be vitamin K deficient. But what I'm trying to explain is the amount of vitamin K we need on a daily basis. We should be getting all of that through our food. We should be getting all of that through our food. And if we're not getting it through our food, it means that our diet is very, very inadequate. And I'm trying to work out how would our diet be so inadequate that we are not getting the small amount of vitamin K that we are needing on a daily basis. So we
I'm
need
thinking
to
of
check
your
our
chart.
diet.
Yeah,
Check
because
our
your chart
diet.
said spinach, one serving is 888 micrograms. None of us here weighs 888. I may be closer to it than you, but I don't quite weigh 888 kilograms. So
Right.
one serving of spinach is more than 10 times what I would need.
So if you're eating your daily allowance, your daily amount of what you're meant to be eating, if you're juicing, it gets into the system even quicker. Do you understand what I'm saying? Then none of us should be vitamin K deficient. None of us should be vitamin K deficient. There are always going to be a small number of people who have fat metabolism problems. There will always be problems with people who are on medications like antibiotics, blood thinners, all that type of stuff. And what I'm saying, that there are always those people. We are living on a daily basis with all different makeups of people. For some reason, something is not going right in the system, yeah? But basically, by what we're eating on a daily basis, yeah, on a plant-based basis, yeah, we're not even talking about the meat, because you can get it through meats and stuff like that, then you should be very fine being a plant-based person. And your doctor, if he's so worried about you being vitamin K deficient, tell him to test you for it. Tell him to take a blood test and get you tested to see if you're vitamin K deficient. And if you're not vitamin K deficient, then tell him not to speak on the subject to you anymore. It's as simple as that.
And in addition, gut bacteria also make vitamin K.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah, I was going to ask a question regarding absorption, because in the past, Louise, I was under the impression that I think it was vitamin K2 that assists with absorption, especially when it comes to a vitamin, which is for the sun.
K2, sorry?
So it would be K2.
Vitamin D.
Vitamin D. And in the chat, I can't read it now. Where's it gone to? In the chat, there is a question regarding a certain amount of vitamin K2 in conjunction with IUs of D3. So let's have a look here. So it says taking vitamin D3 4,000 IU and 100 K2. Is this okay?
I'm not even going to attempt to. I've seen, I mean, the D3, the 4,000 IU, that's a high dosage.
That's say every 3 days.
Okay.
That would be more than enough. But my question is it the K on its own, or does it have to be the K2, or can you use the K as a factor?
They normally say the K2. I think they normally say the K2.
Yes.
And so she's saying, I think it's Paula who's saying that. She's saying, is this okay? I wouldn't know, because I'm not an expert in terms of how much K2 to take in regards to your vitamin D3. But your vitamin D3 is a very high dose, by the way. I'm not quite sure if you're taking that daily or every other day or every 3 days or whatever it is, but that is quite a high dose to be taken on a daily basis. So you need to be careful there, because remember, we were talking about sometimes we're supplementing for a good reason, but it can become a bad thing. Do you understand? If we're overdosing on it without us even actually knowing that we're overdosing.
Yes. Okay, that's perfect.
I think that a study that was done in Israel showed that certain people needed, particularly people of color, needed a higher dose of vitamin D3 because they did not absorb enough sunlight to form the vitamin D3. And that's where a dose higher than 4,000 per day needed vitamin K2 for absorption. But if you're taking anything less than 4,000, you do not need vitamin K2. That's what they said in this study.
Okay, thank you for that, Audrey.
That's interesting.
I mean, we're not talking about vitamin D3, but I just want to nip this in the bud. Okay, I want to nip this in the bud. Especially with the Black folks, darker skinned people, however you want to put it. I'm just not going to be politically correct now. Yeah. We all know that because of our dark skin, it's harder for the sun to penetrate because of the melatonin and all that type of stuff. Now, there is an easy way around this. In the summer, make sure you're outside, get in your sunshine, so that you can get your D, your vitamin D. Now, in the winter is where we have the problem. But a lot of us are deficient even in the summer because we're not out in the sun enough, because we're cooped up in the house. Yeah. Even they say that some of us who are out in the sun, especially in terms of like the Muslims and stuff, the women who are fully covered all the time, especially in the Black, it's more of a problem for them also. But the fairer your skin, the shorter amount of time you need to be out in the sun, and of course, vice versa. The darker you are, then of course, the longer periods of times you need to be in the sun. Now, when the sun is at its highest, you should not really be running around in the sun unless you're properly covered. Yeah, because of course, that is not going to be too good for you either. So it's best to find out when the sun is at its highest and stay out of the sun or be properly covered. But daily, you should be out in the sun, getting your D, your vitamin from the sun. In the winter time, get a good natural form of vitamin D and K2 if you wish to go down that route, and take it from around, they say, I think it's October-ish, November-ish, up until about April. And then of course, we start having the sunshine again. You start going down that, you start going back to the sunshine in its natural form. Over the last couple of weeks, we've had some rain and stuff, but we've also had some very, very warm weather here over in England. We should have been taking advantage of this, whether you're dark skinned or light skinned, like Sharon is at this present moment. Yeah. So please be informed. Don't rely just on supplements. I don't have a problem with supplements. Supplements are there to get your body back to maybe where it should be. And then we should be letting our diets and our lifestyle do the rest. Do you understand? We don't need to be supplementing every single day for the rest of our lives, unless, of course, we really do because we have a major defect. Yeah. But be informed about you, be informed about what you need to do, how you need to do it, when you need to do it, so that you're not falling into the trap of just popping pills all the time, whether they're good or bad.
Can I just add to that also? I know Louise said it's been warm recently. Not where I am in this part of the UK. It was like 1 degree this morning. However, even when it's cold, you still get the beauty of the sun's rays. So
amen. Amen. I mean, I said to someone once, go outside in the sunshine, go outside in the open even when it's cold. They were like, you're crazy. Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not crazy. You're crazy for not doing it. Do you understand? I'm benefiting, but you're not benefiting. If you look at me, I'm a 53-year-old grandmother and I look good. Do you understand? And I look good by the grace of God because of my diet, my lifestyle. I look good by the grace of God because I try and look after myself. So if you want to look as good as me or even better, you do the same thing.
I love it. I love it. I love your frankness, Louise. Yeah, and
I'm being nice. Shirley told me to be nice.
And I'm 52 for the record as well. So, you know, it's possible. God is good.
Yeah, I just wanted to give a bit of a testimony regarding vitamin D. When I came over to the UK in 2015 and grown up in South Africa. And when I came over to the UK, it was around about winter time. I think I was there for about 6 months and I wasn't supplementing with any vitamin D3 type of supplements. And I was getting sick every month. I was getting like flu symptoms, feeling weak and tired. I didn't know what was wrong and I couldn't put my finger on it. And that was happening for about 6 months until I finally went to the doctor. And then they tested me and it came up that I had a vitamin D3 deficiency. And after supplementing for about 2 weeks, well, after supplementing, I actually didn't get that fluey feeling again, and it went away almost immediately. So it just shows you, you know, how important it is that sunshine, you know, how important sunshine is for our bodies, you know.
And sorry, Brent.
Yeah.
Brent, my brother is like a brother from a different mother, as they say. Brent is very much fairer skinned than I, but Brent. Sorry, brother.
Okay.
Eden Balm, just wait for us. Just wait Okay, thank you very much, Eden Balm. Thank you. Now, Brent has come from a very extremely warm country where he's used to getting that natural sunshine, his vitamin through sun naturally. And then he came over here to our cold country, yeah, and he starts to suffer. And he's lighter skinned than most of us. Do you understand? So think about it from this perspective. If he is lighter skinned and needs less sunshine than we do, but he was still suffering, then you have your answer to there, those who are darker skinned.
Unbelievable.
Let's go back to the vitamin K thing before we run out of time. Any more questions?
To the floor.
Yeah, anybody? Okay, so we don't have any more questions, it looks like. So I'd like to end by saying this. In everything, yeah, we have to be wise. Do you understand what I'm saying? So we've talked about vitamin 3, we've talked about the vitamin K today. We've talked about the levels and where they peak at their highest in a child that is just born. We have seen that God, in his almighty wisdom, who created us and knows everything about us, even every hair on our head, knew that within day 8, our blood clotting vitamin would peak at its highest. Yeah. But we understand that because of sin, yeah, let's tell it as it is, because of sin, no matter what, you may not be the one who's done sin, as in generally, yeah, we have people who suffer from defects, yeah, things don't work as they should do, and they may need to be supplemented, they may need to take a vitamin K injection. No one ain't judging no one on that. Nobody is going to judge you on that, yeah. What we're saying to people is be informed, yeah? Be informed before you allow yourself or before you allow your child, a newborn child whose immune system is not at its best at dealing with foreign bodies being pushed into its system. If you notice, when your child is going to be immunized, they always ask you, have your child has a cold? Has your child been unwell? And if that child has been unwell, they do not vaccinate them. They do not immunize them. And that is because of a reason. There's a reason for that. So be informed about what you want for yourself and for your child. Remember that there are those who may have problems in terms of producing higher levels of vitamin K that they need. And then if we are not eating a proper diet in terms of our green leafy vegetables, then we're gonna definitely have a problem. And then you're gonna have to supplement. If you do have to supplement, go for a more natural form as much as possible. Don't wait for someone like myself or anybody else on TTI to give you all that information. Get on the web, get books for people who's written good stuff on that, because not everything on the web is 100% kosher, yeah? And be informed so that you know what you want to do, what you can do, and what you don't have to do.
Perfect. So if there's no other questions, Louise,
I think we've lost Brent again.
Yeah, there's no questions on, I have not seen any questions on YouTube, put it that way.
Great stuff. Okay.
Unless
someone has written in here, kale and pineapple juice is good for your vitamin K.
We normally end off with a challenge for this coming week.
Yep.
For the viewers to take part in. Is there anything that comes to the viewers can?
Yeah, I would challenge every viewer today who's listening today to encourage themselves and others to juice at least 3 times this week. At least 3 times this week. Do 1 day of juicing of 1 fruit juice and 3 vegetable juices, just 1 day of the 7, and do your green vegetable juices, leafy vegetable juices, and do your fruit juice 1 in the morning. Do your fruit juice first to get rid of the sugar levels, and then do your green vegetable juices throughout the rest of the day. So for 1 day of this week, I would challenge all our viewers, all our listeners, to do at least 1 day of juicing and 1 day of raw eating. So salads for breakfast, fruit salads for breakfast, and vegetable salads for lunch, and a green juice or green smoothie for dinner if you must have it. That is the challenge for this coming week.
Nice. That sounds very healthy.
Yeah. We're getting you prepared for the detox that's coming up on the 17th.
Perfect. Getting the body ready, eh? Yeah. Excellent. Well, thank you, Louise. It's been very informative. I'm sure even the moms found out today that they didn't know about when all their kids were born, with regards to being jabbed with vitamin K.
And Sonia says, ensure we eat enough fiber to help with those gut microbes. And she's absolutely quite right. We need to eat enough fiber to make sure everything is moving properly in the right way.
It all starts from our digestive system, doesn't it?
Yeah, everything. The second brain.
Yeah. We are what we eat.
Challenge, Louise.
Say that again.
I said I love the challenge.
Yes.
Who doesn't have a juicer?
You then get one.
Yes.
I'll feed back probably in the week after I've had 2 days of the challenge to let you know how I got on. And hopefully we'll be back next week to see how everybody's got on. Yeah, it would be good to hear how everybody is doing throughout the week. You know, 1 day of juicing alone, you don't know how that's going to assist the body in terms of not having to break down food in the way that it's used to having to do. And just eating raw 1 day for the week as well will assist the body. I mean, you know, your body's gonna love you all the more. Your gut will love you. Everything will love you all the more. Your organs will love you all the more. Just 1 day. That's all it takes. 1 day of juicing, 1 day of eating raw. And then slowly but surely we can increase on that.
Brilliant. Excellent.
I like Colin's question. Sorry. At the end of Colin's question, he was asking about the risk of vitamin K because he's non-dairy, non-meat, non-injection vitamin K. He says, I am beyond breastfeeding stages in life. So that's what his mom said. Yes, Colin, but don't worry about your vitamin K levels. I'm sure it's fine. And if you're that worried, if you're bleeding, when you bruise yourself, if you hit yourself and you bruise very easily, when you cut yourself and it takes really long for you to stop bleeding, then have that test. There's nothing wrong. Just go and have that test. You pay for I'm sure you pay for that for your taxes and everything. So have the test and be reassured and make sure that everything is fine.
There we go. Just to put your mind at ease. Yeah. Yeah, but you said something earlier about getting enough vitamin K from your diet. But we all know that in today's times, depending where you shop, and it's always best to get I know it's expensive, but your fruit and veg from a farm shop, I would say. And in the UK, you've got a sortie of farm shops, don't you?
I mean, yes. I mean, when I remember, we grow quite a few vegetables and stuff every year, depending on how busy my husband is. And there's just no comparison to having your own. And then of course, if you can't grow your own, go to a farm shop that you know is ethical. They're ethical people, and ask them about their foods. How do you grow it? What do you put on it? You know, a brother was wanting to supply me with certain herbs, and I said to him, "Oh, how do you grow this? How do you stop all the bugs and stuff from getting on there and eating it and tearing it away?" And he said, "Oh, we spray it with this stuff." And I was like, "No, thank you." Do you understand? And he was a farmer. Do you understand what I'm saying? So ask your farmer questions. Don't be round and about. Ask them in a very roundabout way, and find out what they're using on their produce. Do you understand what I'm saying? And find out what's been sprayed on your food.
Yes, no, definitely.
Okay, I'm handing it back to the TTI team. Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you. Thank you very much for your presentation today, Louise. And we all look forward to carrying out that challenge.
Yes.
This coming week. Thanks a lot. So we'd like to then round up with regards to today's presentation. Just like to encourage the viewers to please support the ministry. I'll bring up our TTR details. You know, if you could just look at supporting the ministry in any way to assist with these type of presentations, to assist with the funds in the background that takes to run this ministry. You know, any donations would be greatly appreciated. So there are our details. And remember the groups, to join any groups that you're not a part of. And I'll also bring up the up and coming Rest a While up at Keffin Lee, which is going to be a wonderful weekend over there. And then also the 10-day colon and liver detox coming up between the 17th and the 26th of April. Another one to look out for. Excellent. Well, thanks again, Louise.
No problem.
Stop sharing there. Yes, go ahead. Go ahead.
Thank you. Can I ask that we also give a big thanks to God for enabling Louise to do her presentation, because you know, we rely a lot on technology.
Yes.
And sometimes sometimes we struggle.
Thanks to the son-in-law.
But thankfully, God enabled Louise to be able to do this presentation, which was excellent. So thank you so much, and all thanks to God as well.
Amen. Praise God that I practice all this before I come online. I practice all this, but I panic when it comes to the sharing bit and everything, because I'm like, oh my gosh. And then I've even traveled from my house for over 2.5 hours to get to my daughter's house when I'm doing certain presentations to make sure I'm there so she can get me online. That's how bad I am. So yeah, I thank God. I give him all the praise, all the glory, all the honor. And of course, I thank the TTI team for their support. And I love my son-in-law even more now.
Amen.
Amen.
Good. So without further ado, if anyone else wants to add, please do so when we come off our YouTube stream. Please stay behind and have a chat with regards to anything you want to share. But yeah, we thank all the listeners and the viewers for coming on today's call.
No more school.
Only for 2 weeks.
We'll have a presentation for next week. We're looking forward to that.
Yes.
And,
I've got to go
we
to
haven't
all
got
of
the
them.
title for you yet.
I've got to go to
Okay.
all of them.
Stay tuned.
And I don't think. No, look at the text from my mum.
Ready?
Yeah. So please stay tuned to the platforms where we will be announcing next week's presentation.
Thank you, Brett. That's what I was trying to say.
Yes.
Okay. God bless you. Thank you for joining in, and we'll say goodbye to those who are joining us on
YouTube.
Have a wonderful week.
Right. Bye-bye.
So whilst we're waiting for the YouTube to be stopped, we're just going to remind our viewers that